Hey everyone, I'm back with Night at the Movies. I wasn't sure how often I'll do this because, as I said, it depends on when I go see classic movies. Luckily, one of the local theaters that is mostly open for shows and plays, yeah, they show movies every now and then, and well, once a month. And this time, they showed Mary Poppins, and I went to see it. I haven't seen it. Well, let's put it this way. The last time I saw it was before I had to watch Sound of Music in school. So, that tells you how long that's been. Actually, probably, I think from what I remember, is that I saw Mary Poppins. This was probably the many times I had watched it, and then the final time I had watched it before not seeing it till tonight was, about, I would say it was probably a couple of months before was in that seventh grade music classroom watching Sound of Music. So that's part of the. I think that might have been part of the reason why it took to Sound of Music so well, because Julie Andrews is the main character, or the main actress for both of those movies. And anyway, but yeah, Mary Poppins, I actually was very happy. I thought maybe it hadn't aged well in some aspects. Yeah, it's aged well. In other aspects, no, it has not. But yeah, it's like some of the songs they repeat over and over either through score or reprises that got on my nerves a little bit. And it's a musical. I mean, there's almost one song after another. Some of them are just so cute and charming, and a lot of them there's a couple of them I forgot, but they weren't the super catchiest songs out there either. But it was a very charming movie. It was so cool. Some of the animation and live action stuff. I like that. It's just so cool how they do it, and I just loved that with Mary Poppins. It was then one of the neatest scenes of all is that whole section where Mary and Bert are singing and dancing, and then they meet up with the kids again, and they're on that merry-go-round. Which, by the way, with me being a merry-go-round carousel enthusiast, I'm like, parts of that remind me of PTC. Like that I think there was a PTC influence in the creation of that because it wasn't a real carousel. It was just, it was the carousel. Part of it was animated, part of it was real. Like a real carved horse or whatever. But most of it was just animation with special effects. Yeah, the movie was funny. I liked some of the funny parts. That did age well. Even if some of it you would think might be geared more for a child's age. But I just laughed. And and it's interesting how that movie, it's kind of like it it's more of a lighter version of It's a Wonderful Life, even though it's not exactly, but there's some elements to it that remind me of It's a Wonderful Life. But Mary Poppins does it better because it's lighter. As someone that deals with mental health, watching Jimmy Stewart's character well, I've explained that in a video before, so, but you get what I mean. So, somebody that's dealt with depression and anxiety, which thank God I was delivered from the depression. Still deal with anxiety, but I try my best to fight that. But enough about that. So anyway, the person that deals with mental health, you just feel for George, and so it's really hard to watch it. But anyway, beside the point, Mary Poppins kind of fluffs over the really sad, depressing parts. But because the point of the movie was to unite the family, and I like that message. That was the only reason why she was their nanny, was to unite everybody. The kids got along just fine, but the other people in the house, they fought all the time, and George was never happy. He was all, just life. You gotta teach these kids that life isn't always happy. You know, but so anyway, yeah. So that's his part, and he's like becomes an angry person. But by the end, You know, he's happy as can be, singing, dancing, and I love you, children, kind of thing. It's such a feel good movie. Um, but yeah, some of the songs got on my nerves. Some of the scenes are a little too long. But besides that, I was smiling a good bit of the time. Uh, I don't. I mean, that movie was a bit ahead of its time, really, and I kind of can see where there's similarities with Sound of Music to that too. But of course, we know what came first, and then yeah. But anyway, um, so but Dick Van Dyke, I loved him in that. He's so good. He's so flawless in his dancing. I liked his British accent wasn't too bad. I mean, I saw him in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and I'm like, the accent's pretty good. Just an okay singer, but it seemed like some of the songs with Mary Poppins he sang pretty well. I guess it depended on the composer and stuff like that, but it was good. It was great, you know. And I think I read somewhere that Mary Poppins was like one of the last movies that Walt Disney actually worked on, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a whimsical, charming movie still. I love it. Um, so anyway, that's my review and experience. I may or may not be back at that theater next month for the Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club. I do like that movie. I relate a lot to that movie. It all depends on if I'm going to decide to go alone or to go with some, try to get some friends together. Might be time that I have a girls' night. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Talk to you later. God bless.